What's going on YouTube? Hey guys, this is Zippy and welcome back to episode 4 on the SarCraftic server. And today we are starting things off in front of our villager breeder because it is finally time to start putting this thing to use because we are going to be building a massive iron farm in today's episode. So this iron farm design is going to be by Gnembon. I will of course leave a link to the description of the video that I used to make this farm in the description below. Now the video is actually not Gnembon's video himself. It is somebody else's video, but the design itself is still Gnembon's design. And here we have all of the resources, or most of the resources, that we're going to need. So this is pretty much everything. Now all of this wool is eventually going to be used to make the beds. Now the reason I didn't craft all the beds is because we need 128 of them. And beds are non-stackable. So I wasn't about to have a bunch of non-stackable items taking up a ton of space. But here we have all of the glass that we'll need. We have plenty of glass. And then we have some extra stuff. We also need a bunch of signs too. But again, they're only in stacks of 16. And we need, I think, 400 and something signs. So that again was going to take up a whole lot of space. So I wasn't going to craft those up either. So I think what I'm going to do to start off this design is pretty much extend out a row of dirt. I'd say about 50 blocks off of this island, and then I'll start building it from there. And I think the first thing I'm going to build is the water streams. Now in the original design, Gnembon actually used hopper streams instead of water streams, but I thought it would be a lot less laggy to use water streams instead of putting in all of those hoppers, and it'll also save me on a ton of iron. Even though I am making an iron farm and I would have made the iron back within an hour, I still think water streams is the best way to go here, but I'll obviously still be using hoppers when it comes to putting all the items into the chests. Okay, so here are all the water streams in place. As you can see, we've got the water stream going all the way down. That extends down by 81 blocks. We have our ice in the middle, so that way the items can travel across the ice when the water source runs out. And then we also have our hoppers. I went ahead and I put 3 hoppers at the very end to make sure that all the items definitely had a chance to get into a hopper. And then basically this is just a simple, it filters all the way down and it fills from the bottom chest all the way up, and I have that on both sides. So now it is time to build all of the spawning platforms for where the golems are going to spawn. And to make all those spawning platforms, we are going to need a ton of stone bricks. Like, I don't even think this is anywhere near enough. I'm going to have to smelt up a ton more cobblestone so that way I can make some more stone bricks. But we also have a ton of glass, which we also need a ton of glass panes to go along the outside to act as the wall. So I'm going to grab a ton of glass panes and also smelt up a ton of stone so that way we can make stone bricks, and we are going to be putting in all of these spawning platforms. Okay guys, so here are all of the platforms in place, and I also went ahead and put in the square around it, or rectangle around it, that the minecart's going to be going on, that's going to be carrying our husk. But these are all of the platforms in place. We have 8 platforms total, and there's going to be a group of villagers, I think, on top of every single one. There might actually be 2 groups on top of every single one. I'm not exactly sure, but all I know is that this thing took a ton of stone, and I just have to say huge, massive shout out to Gigglebot because he came over. I had put in the chat off camera asking if anybody had made a super smelter yet, and everybody was like, no, we haven't really made a gigantic one. And all of a sudden Gigglebot shows up at my base and just hands over a whole shulker box filled to the very top with stone. And I could not thank him enough because, man, did I fly through this process after he gave me all of that stone. And here is just some of it. All of it's back at the base because there's obviously not enough room right here. And actually here's some more stone bricks. I mean, I have so many stone bricks now thanks to Gigglebot, so huge shout out to him. So now the next step that we have to take care of on this massive farm is to go ahead and put in all of the redstone wiring. And I think I'm going to try to put in all of the minecart rails as well. So basically we just need to set up the redstone wiring so that way we're able to stop and also send off the minecart with the husk in it, so that way it has enough time sitting in each position for all the iron golems to spawn, and it'll give enough time for the villagers to get scared. So that's really all of the redstone that's involved in this build. But the big thing is getting all of these rails, because as you can see, this is a pretty massive rectangle, and I want to make sure that I have all of the powered rails and normal rails and detector rails that I need. So I'm going to go ahead and put in all of the rails in redstone, and I will come back once that is all finished. Alright guys, and just like that, we now have all of the rails and all of the redstone in place. As you can see, we have the little redstone circuitry under each of these little humps in the minecart track. So it's going to detect when the minecart passes that detector rail. It's going to put a delay, which means it's going to depower these powered rails and hold the minecart in its spot just for enough time, so that way some iron golems can spawn on these platforms. And then it'll go and do the same thing on the next one and the next one, going all the way around. So now all the redstone is officially in place. And now the next thing we have to do is put in all the holding areas on either side of this thing for the villagers. Now I'm hoping this part's going to be relatively easy. The hardest part is actually going to be making all the beds. Again, I need to make 128 beds, so I'm hoping that process isn't going to take too long. But other than that, we have all of the resources we need. So just a couple more building blocks. We have our 48 fletching tables, our 64 end rods, some trapdoors, and a bunch of redstone, so that way we could put it, I believe, on top of the fletching tables, so no normal mobs can spawn on top of those fletching tables, because they are spawnable blocks. So we don't want any of that to happen, because if they do, and if a zombie spawns, then our villagers would then be turned into zombie villagers, and the entire farm will not be as efficient as it should be. So I'm going to pretty much go ahead and get started on building all of these holding areas for the villagers, and then I will come back once that's all complete. Okay guys, so here are all of the villager holding areas in place. Everything is now completed. I went ahead and I crafted up all 128 beds. That took it didn't take long to craft them up. It just took long to transport them back and forth, because you can't obviously hold 128 items in your inventory, and again, they're not stackable, so it was just a lot of walking back and forth. But anyways, everything is now all in place, and let's just go over here so I can show you kind of more in depth of what it is. So we've got an iron trap door, we've got some 4 end rods, this will keep them in place, and then we have some redstone on top of these fletching tables, so that way no mobs will spawn on the fletching tables, as I explained in the last clip. So there we go, there's all the holding areas in place, and now the last bit of building that we need to do before we start transporting villagers and the husk and putting in all of the water and lava is to put in all of the signs right down here where all of the lava is going to be, so that way we can hold up the lava. So we have to put in all of the signs, and then also, because we are using water streams again and not a hopper stream, we need to put in another line of glass panes along down in the water stream, so that way the water that's flowing into the water stream isn't gonna mess up the flow of it going all the way down towards the chest over there. So hopefully that made sense, but right now we need to place in the glass panes and all of the signs, and then we can start adding in all of the lava and the water. Okay, so I've gone ahead and placed in all of the glass panes and all of the signs and all of the buckets where the golems are going to be spawning. And as you can see, I actually went ahead and added in the water down there and also in the water streams themselves, just because I found out that if I tried to do all the signs and the glass panes and then tried to add the water, it would have been a lot harder to get the water placed down. So I basically did that water as well. So now all that's left for me to do is to go ahead and put in the water along the platforms that the golems are going to be spawning on, so that way they can get pushed down into the lava that I'm going to be placing down onto the top of these signs. So I'm going to go ahead and put in all of the water and all of the lava, and then I will show you guys what all that is looking like, and then we get to do the lovely task of transporting all of our villagers from the villager breeder and start putting them into their holding areas. Alright guys, and here we go. This is all of the water and all of the lava now in place, so everything is all ready to start putting the villagers in. And I was going to do a test on camera, but it looks like somehow this minecart got pushed when I walked by it. I guess I pushed it, because I don't know how else it would have gotten up here, but it made it up here. So I was going to do a whole test on camera to see if it would work, but clearly he's able to make it all the way up here and get into his little holding area. So that's awesome. That makes life so much easier knowing that that works. So basically I'm just going to do 3 villagers at a time. So I have 2 other minecarts right here, and I made a little holding area right over there, or a temporary holding area, so that way I can quick slip in the minecart and grab a villager and take it up here. And then they're obviously just going to go, and I was going to show you this, but I guess it already happened, and they're just going to go right in here, and then we can replace in this bed, break all the minecarts, replace the redstone, and they will be all set to go. So I now need to do that a whole bunch of times, because we have to do it twice for every little holding area or for every little bucket that we have. So that is going to be 16 times. So yeah, I am going to start doing that and wish me luck. Okay guys, so after 2 whole days of aggravation and wanting to rage quit Minecraft and just very frustrating moments trying to get villagers into their holding areas, we have finally completed all the villagers, and we now have 48 villagers in the iron farm. So all the villagers are now completely in place, which means we are on to the final step, and that is to put in a husk to go along this minecart track, so that way it scares the villagers and they will start spawning in all the iron golems and whatnot. And we also have the husk right over there in this cobblestone hut. So basically all we gotta do is push him onto the minecart track and get him all the way up here, and then we are done with this iron farm. And we're also going to do some decorating too. But as far as the iron farm goes, it is going to be completely done and functional, and it'll start producing iron. I cannot wait. I never thought this day would come. I honestly thought that those villagers were going to be the end of this iron farm for me, but I managed to just fight through the pain of dealing with villagers, and we got all 48 in, and now it is time to get our lovely husk in place. And of course, to top things off, we of course had to give him a villager head to throw on, because, you know, we just had to do that. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna take damage, but I really don't care because my armor is amazing. And we're just gonna push this guy. Okay, well, we're not gonna push this guy yet. We're gonna do this, and now we're gonna push this guy onto this minecart track. Just, if you could, there we go. And we're just gonna push you along. It's gonna be very underwhelming at the moment because he's going very slowly. And let me eat food. Is he gonna go up there? No, he's not. Alright, go on, keep going. Get up the ramp. Keep going, there we go. And let's keep pushing you. Hopefully you don't lag off the thing or something weird, because the server is a little bit behind lately. As you can see, when I was trying to eat my pork chop, there's a little bit of lag, but hopefully that won't be an issue. And let me grab some rails so I can quickly replace them. And he's off. And there we go. He's going up the minecart track, and he's going to go right in, and we should start seeing some iron golems spawn once he gets to that first little hill, and he'll be stopped, and those villagers should spawn an iron golem. Hopefully. If this doesn't work, that'll be very embarrassing. I don't think it worked. Well, that was a little bit embarrassing. Will these guys spawn one? I hope. No, maybe not. Okay, you know what? I think they need to sleep. I think it needs to turn nighttime first, but let's go ahead and oh, there we go. We managed to catch that. Okay. Let's go ahead and replace these. And there we go. Alright, so the husk is now officially in the system, which means this thing will start producing iron, I guess, the second that these villagers sleep. Okay, so in the meantime, while we wait for it to turn nighttime and the villagers can all go to sleep, and then hopefully this thing will kick into action the next day, let's go ahead and get rid of this ugly dirt staircase that we've had and all these dirt little pathways, and put in an actual staircase and an actual pathway to access all these chests down here. But as far as this goes, this is all done. I don't need to be up here anymore, which is fantastic. I just went ahead and I slept, so now the villagers have slept, and as you can see, the iron golems are now spawning in, and we should see iron flowing through here at some point, hopefully. Oh, there we go. Okay, I was getting very nervous between the iron golems not spawning right away and also the fact that we weren't getting any iron. I thought something was wrong with the water streams. And there we go. We also have iron in here. 23 pieces of iron already. Not bad. This farm is going to produce 3,400 iron ingots per hour, which is absolutely amazing. We are going to be set on iron for the rest of the series on this SarCraftic server. So now it is time to start working on the pathways, and just to make this a little bit nicer so that way we're not walking on a one wide dirt path to access all of our chests. So I think I'm just going to do a very simple stone brick pathway with some maybe smooth stone on the outside of it with some oak fences, and I think that'll be pretty much it. Nothing too complicated, just enough so that way it kind of fits in with the theme of the iron farm, considering that the entire thing is built out of stone bricks. So I'm going to go ahead and basically gather all the resources and start building this thing, and then I will just show you guys what it looks like when it is all officially complete. Okay guys, and just like that, we now have the walkway all in place. Once again, I just used a bunch of stone bricks and then some smooth stone on the very outside to give it some contrast, and then I went ahead and put fence posts all along the edges and of course lit it up with torches. And on the bottom layer, we can access the first 5 chests, just like so, and you can do the same thing on the other side. And then all you have to do is go up on this little staircase right here to the second layer, and we can access the top 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There we go. There's a little bit of lag there, but we all know why. And you can also do the other side as well. So this is the iron farm, now officially 100% complete. We've got the walkways in, all of the chests are filling up with iron, the husk is going around doing a great job getting all of the iron golems to spawn, or I guess technically the villagers are spawning them, not the husk. But yeah, so this is all ready to go, and we are definitely going to be doing an overnight AFK session to see how much iron we can get overnight. Okay guys, so we are back after a full night's worth of AFKing at the iron farm, and let's see how much iron we managed to get. So there is a full double chest right there, a second chest, a third chest, and a little bit on a fourth chest, and then these hoppers should also be full as well. So I'm assuming there is going to be the exact same on the other side, which means we essentially got 6 double chests worth of iron, give or take. I know some spots are filled up with those poppies, and yeah, a little bit on the fourth chest, so not terribly bad. So this farm is definitely working its magic, and we are going to be getting so much iron. Now, before this episode ends, I want to do another quick shout out to Gigglebot. This episode is practically sponsored by Gigglebot, because one, he gave us all of the stone to craft all of these stone bricks that you basically see here. That could not have been done. Well, I guess it could have been done without him, but it happened a lot quicker because of Gigglebot. But also, we managed to now get this little fancy thing on our back called an elytra. Now, I've had the elytra for quite some time now when I did some end busting, but I didn't have gunpowder or enough gunpowder to make rockets to use it, and Gigglebot was kind enough to trade me 3 stacks of rockets if I gave him a Silk Touch enchanted book that he needed for his shovel. So I went ahead and I gave him a Silk Touch book, and in exchange he gave me 3 stacks of rockets. So now I have basically enough rockets to start off using this elytra before we start building our mob farm for our own. So yeah, once again, huge shout out to Gigglebot. He's basically sponsoring this video. So yeah, thank you very much. Alright guys, so that is going to do it for this episode, because as of right now, it looks like our time is up. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please leave a like on the video, and if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, this has been Zippy, and I will see you guys next time.